When I was a kid, I played a lot of video games, but the game that truly drew me into what I think of as my hobby become a career was Halo. And in this game, you'd face all kinds of aliens with unique backstories, strengths, and weaknesses. And if you knew that the Hunter was a slow-to-move behemoth with a weak spot in the back, you'd know all you need to kill one of the toughest enemies in the game with just a pistol. And yeah, it was the Halo pistol, but you get the point. This sort of in-the-know perk in a video game isn't rare, but when done well, it can completely change the experience of playing for somebody taking their first steps into fiction, versus somebody who has lived and breathed it. Sci-fi is pretty good at this world building across mediums, and Star Citizen is taking it to another level when it comes to games. From real alien languages to actual elections for in-game leaders, the studio has really pushed for an experience that is led by lore. Today, I'm going to show you a few of the most interesting ways this could impact your experience of Star Citizen. This is another one of my new series for supporters released in May of 2023. And if you'd like to see these right when they release, consider joining on Patreon or YouTube down below. For those who already have, thank you for supporting my Tomato Talks. Probably one of the most interesting lore-backed aspects of Star Citizen is the fact that it already has 3 fictional but proper languages in different levels of development that players can learn and use to their advantage in the game. Already, several riddles and puzzles have been released to the public and deciphered by groups that specialize in these languages. I had 2 folks involved in this on my podcast last year. I'll leave that down below if you want to get into more detail. The languages in the game correspond to 3 of the main races in-game: the Vanduul, the Xi'an, and the Banu. There are 2 other known races that may also have their own languages in the future as well, but we don't know about that just yet. While none of the races will be playable anytime soon, they will be interactable NPCs, quest givers, trading partners, and security forces. And knowing the difference between 2 words in a puzzle, on a mission, during a standoff with a gang leader, or on the instruction manual of an alien technology could mean the difference between success or failure. You probably won't even need to know the language for this to work, just little words like open, close, reload, or explode. This is something that won't make a big difference for a while, and probably won't be necessary for most players, but will definitely be worth looking into for hardcore players in the long run. This is a game without a lack of places to visit. Despite it being relatively small for a space game, Star Citizen does a great job of offering players plenty of diverse locations to explore, even if there isn't much to find there just yet. But in some places, there is. Ever seen the crashed Javelin destroyer on the surface of Daymar? How about the Benihenge in the Yellow Asteroid Belt? Even the attractive nature of the Aaron Halo Belt to miners is a product of the lore. All of these locations have deep backstories that set the stage for what players could find. For the longest time, the problem was that these backstories had to be Googled or searched for online. But with narrative getting more involved in the game, I think we can expect to see more data pads and possible audio logs at these locations that help to flesh out the verse and teach you more about the places you're going and what happened there. But knowing that extra lore outside of the game can also go a long way in pointing you in the right direction. Recently, a new lore piece was released pointing to audio anomalies found on Pyro 2 in the new star system inside of a cave. These audio anomalies are worshipped by some, revered by others, but known by most. For a player looking to meet a local mission giver or even just a random NPC, the knowledge of this location and these noises known as the Prophet of Pyro could give you an upper hand over other players, either in locating clues or even knowing where to go before you're told. You obviously are also going to have a much better idea of where you fit in if you know the lore of locations better. Being in the Magnus system puts you in close proximity to Drake Interplanetary headquarters, but the place is more dangerous than somewhere like Terra. And while you might feel safe in Terra knowing security has your back, you'll likely find less work due to the population. And while Leilani Addison is currently the Imperator of the UEE, elected by the players just a few years ago, these in-game elections could lead to changes in how Terra or Sol or any other political center in the game is seen and used for gameplay purposes. And then there's the Pyro system, getting ready to be added to the game soon. And while Stanton might seem dangerous, Pyro is lawless. The gangs make the rules and you will have to deal with a lot more risk for the reward in the system. A player unfamiliar with the location's lore may wander into a bad situation if they aren't careful. Multiply that out to even just 5 different star systems with a few planets and factions for each, and you're already looking at quite a few possible ways the game plays out in front of you. With so many prospective locations offering various perks and factions and people to meet, this could mean a tiring but exciting amount of studying around each planet and location you're getting ready to visit. Something that's a bit more close and in our faces are the various factions in the game. Right now on a daily basis, players are encountering Ninetales, Crusader Security, Hurston Security, Blackjack Security, Covalix Shipping, Microtech, the Civilian Defense Force, the Advocacy, UEE, and even sometimes Xenothreat. This isn't to mention the various drink, food, weapon, armor, and ship brands that also populate the game. Why are all these groups so important? Well, because every faction in the game has a backstory, affinities, and relationships with all of the others. Just like in Freelancer before it, Star Citizen balances your actions with the companies that fill the game. ArcCorp may make quantum drives, order cargo shipments from Terra, and play friendly with less desirable parties, but that doesn't mean they'll appreciate you robbing local convoys while also trying to work for their security teams. Knowing what each of these brands and companies stand for and stand by will make life much easier for you getting missions and receiving the best rewards. Consider this. You may end up going back to Terra for a meetup and get the chance to run some missions with friends for the Tavaran mission giver in the home city. Expectedly though, the alien senator is not willing to work with somebody who runs regular skirmishes against the UEE with Xenothreat. You know, the alien-hating terrorist group that repeatedly attacks the Stanton system's navy. Yeah, maybe think hard about fighting for them. But understanding the way your actions could reflect on different factions and opportunities is going to be key in knowing where the best gameplay waits for you. This becomes very clear in your everyday gameplay when you decide to go lawful or unlawful and see missions on the other side start to dry up for you. And for something that hits even a little closer to home, look at Hurston. Power-hungry, aristocratic weapons manufacturers who don't sell weapons in their own capital city shop. As a new player, you can spawn in here all the same as anywhere else, but good luck getting properly outfitted like your friends on ArcCorp. While weapons do seem to be sold at the orbital station right now, we'll see if that lasts. However, it is important to note that Hurston as an overruling family likes to leave their citizens unequipped, and that may affect whether or not you want to live there. On the other side of the system, Microtech is a tech hub fueled by nightlife. I expect this to make drug smuggling different on this planet than on the others. I also would expect more interesting cargo missions, since Subran Interstellar, one of the largest providers out there, is headquartered in the city. When it comes to passenger transport missions, I expect tourists to occur more around Crusader than anywhere else, and more missions regarding special ship components and executives will likely also begin there, as we've heard about in recent previews of upcoming missions. Understanding the reason for all companies being in the place they are and what they do to continue that has been something that CIG focuses on a lot in the development. And knowing who the big players in their circle are could be critical to truly succeeding in the game in the future. Sooner than you may think, AI will begin interacting with and reacting to players based on reputation and appearance in-game, and Pyro will open players up to a multitude of new factions that are different from the companies we're used to. The modular mission system will begin allowing the narrative team to get more involved in how the game plays, and the economy simulation will draw emphasis to economic operators in each system. It's taken a while to get here, but it seems your knowledge of the Star Citizen fiction is finally going to start paying off pretty soon. Lore driving the design of a game is pretty common, and it's done to varying degrees. Interestingly, one of the best at this, Bethesda, is diving into the sci-fi genre this year, so I'm interested in seeing how they handle it. Overall though, Star Citizen is one of the most dedicated games to this design I've seen. With details like workers' unions, alien cultures, and the affinities of CEOs actually making a tangible difference on your gameplay, the onus is on the players to decide just how immersive an experience they'd like. Over the next year or two, I think we'll start to see this happening in some very interesting new ways. I hope you enjoyed this May exclusive video. As always, we provide these to our supporters as a thanks for helping me cover the content I'm most passionate about. Here on the channel, we haven't taken any sponsors, so my family is supported almost entirely by the community. And if you decide to support, we offer exclusive videos like this, behind the scenes, Star Citizen referral bonuses from our own randomizer, and more. And even if you just want to hang out, the Garden community on Discord is a large one. We host events, game nights, and many different places for you to talk about or share your favorite things. I hope you decide to join us and say hi, and I hope you learned something new in this video. I'll catch you in the next.